Hello everyone, welcome back to the Discord Racing Association International Endurance Championship. I am your host Joe90 and we are back for another race this weekend. It is the 90 Minutes of Monza, the 6th round of the season, and we will be getting underway with LMP1 qualifying very shortly. Husky, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you ask the guys in LMP1 if they're ready or not?
Yep.
They ready?
I believe they should be ready. So we should be good to begin.
Yep. Qualifying is 20 minutes today. I believe it's 35 litre fuel load. And yeah. The two Nexus Audi R18s first on circuit, they're going to be looking to work together for this qualifying session since the slipstream is so important. The entire grid today, the whole field, 5 cars made up of Audi R18s exclusively, which will be certainly interesting for this race, as the cars should all run relatively equally throughout this session. We have a new entry, Interceptor, running for Team FullPush. He's in a more classically styled Audi R18 livery with the red, black and grey on that car. Sonic bringing up the rear of this group of 4 cars. The leader's just going through Ascari now. 5th is Alvarez for BNRacing. Just on his outlap now, looking to take advantage of some clear air to try and set a fast time. Gumball now coming round to the start-finish line to start his first flying lap. Coming down into turn 1 and turn 2, hard over to the right and the left, then all the way onto the throttle, using up all of the width of the circuit on the run to turn 3. Now coming up towards the second chicane, coming through it, just clipping a sausage curb on the way through. Now through the 2 Lesmos, staying tucked all the way over to the right on the first one, running it all the way out to the left, clipping the apex and running it all the way out to the left on the exit of the second Lesmo. Coming down now towards Ascari, braking just before the 50-metre board, throwing the car in through the left, the right and the left again, running it all the way out to the absolute limit of the circuit and accelerating hard down towards the Parabolica. Gumball starts us off with a 1:34.3. Costa comes through with a 1:34.5. Interceptor will be next to cross the line with a 1:35.9. Sonic will be next for N3XUS Racing. 1:37.1 for Sonic. Alvarez now bringing up the rear of this group. 1:35.7. That puts Alvarez third overall at the moment. Now, looking back to Gumball, he's just coming through the second Lesmo again, using up all of the curb on the exit, and now charging back down towards Ascari for a third time. Nearly 2.5 tenths purple going through Sector 2, starting Sector 3 for Gumball, as he goes extremely wide at Ascari, running the car through the gravel. That's going to really damage his lap, and the next lap as well with dirty tyres. As now we see Costa running wide on the exit of Parabolica. Costa going about 1.5 tenths faster, 1:34.4. He's now 0.5 tenths behind Gumball. Interceptor just crossing the line, 1:36.1, no improvement there. Sonic now coming to the line. 1:37.0 for Sonic, so that's an improvement of about 0.5 tenths. As Alvarez jumps up by nearly 8 tenths of a second, sorry, 6 tenths of a second, to close the gap down to the cars in front to 8 tenths of a second total. As Costa is in the gravel and the wall extremely hard coming off of Lesmo 2. He's obviously had a massive moment there. Gumball following him through there now, so he's going to pick up some slipstream on this out lap. Gumball coming back to the pits now. Costa joining him. Alvarez on the back straight. Interceptor on an out lap at the moment. Sonic not on an out lap, but running relatively wide there through Parabolica. Sonic doesn't improve, 1.2 seconds down. Alvarez doesn't improve, 2.5 tenths down. This is going to get incredibly intense as we get to the end of this session now. All of these drivers are starting to bunch up again, and this could be quite interesting as we get towards the end of the session, because if these 4 drivers all work together, they could set some faster lap times. As Gumball opts to reset to the pit lane, Alvarez is just leaving the pits. Costa is now on the back of presumably Interceptor and Sonic as they go through the Lesmos. Costa just weaving slightly there to get some heat into the tyres. Interceptor runs the car through the gravel in the middle of Ascari. Sonic runs extremely wide as a result as well. Costa is now at a good point in the lap to start really pushing. And he opts to stop and do a burnout. Why would he stop and do that? He's got plenty of a gap in front of him. Sonic improves to a 1:37.0. And Costa now heads on his way for another fast lap. Alvarez now starting a flying lap as well. Hard on the brakes coming through turn 1 and turn 2. A huge snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 2 for Alvarez. That will surely damage his lap time. Interceptor firmly in the slipstream of Sonic, going down towards Ascari. How does the sector time look for the British driver? 2.5 tenths up through sector 2. Small brush into the gravel again through Ascari. Interceptor taking full advantage of Sonic's slipstream at the moment. As Sonic improves to a 1:35.2, he's now only a tenth behind Alvarez. Interceptor currently 6.5 tenths back as Costa grabbed pole position with a 1:34.024, 3.5 tenths faster than Gumball. Does Gumball have an answer to that on this lap? Gumball 1:34.3 on that lap. That's a fair bit slower. It's almost a few thousandths slower than his best lap so far, even. Gumball now a 1/10.5 up through sector 2. As he goes through the gravel again at the exit of Ascari, he keeps his foot in it. Coming through Parabolica now. On his way to the line, 1:31. Something peculiar there with the timing. That lap registering as a 1:35 on circuit, but a 1:42 on the timing tower. Gumball coming back down towards the Sector 2 line now. 2 seconds down on this lap as well. 6.5 minutes left in the session. With Costa coming through the final corner with damage again. He'll be going to the pit lane surely for that. And he does. So that now leaves another question. Where's Alvarax? 2 seconds down on his best lap currently. Just coming through Ascari now towards Parabolica. Now let's ride on board the helmet camera of Alvax for the rest of this lap. Coming through the second chicane, trying to be absolutely millimetrically perfect there. Coming through the first of the Lesmos, the wall almost jumping out at him. Sonic setting a 1:35.0, so Alvarax will have to pick up the pace here just a little bit. Coming through Ascari. Costa pulled over to the right there to let him through. Coming up towards the start-finish line now. 1:35.1 apparently, according to the timing. Gumball currently 2/10 behind Costa. 3.5 minutes left in this session, so about 3 laps worth of time left in this session. Gumball coming towards the line now. 1:33.7 on that lap. That puts him on pole by 1/4 of a second over Costa. Does the Portuguese driver have anything left to use to his advantage here? As he spins into the wall and gets nose damage. Costa now just limping that car back to the pit lane to repair it. He knows that he has time just to be able to get this car fixed and get an out lap done. And to get perhaps 1 or 2 flying laps completed as well. And he's on his way again here. Comes out of the pit lane. as Sonic set to 1:34.7 on that lap. Costa, on his out lap now, he has 1 minute and 20 seconds to make it back round to the timing line. To set a fast lap. You've probably got plenty of time to get back to the timing line, but he might only get one more lap. There's 20 seconds left on the clock now. Costa will be able to get one more lap out of this car. And he's going to have to make it the lap of his life in order to get pole position. Costa using every millimetre of track he can now to try and find as much time as possible to gumball through the first sector, 700ths up, through the second chicane, a little bit of a touch of gravel there on the exit, through the first of the Lesmos, taking it as tight as possible. A small moment there coming into the second Lesmo. Costa held it together, is now on his way to the second sector line. And he's 8/10ths down nearly at the second sector line. Costa opting to abort the lap, I think. Alvax on an out lap at the moment. He's not going to have time to do another flying lap, I don't think. So Alvax crosses the line. Pole position goes to Gumball with a 1:33.7. That does not beat last season's pole lap record. It is 2/10ths slower than the lap record for qualifying around Monza for DRA. In a moment we will be moving on to the LMGT qualifying session. There is quite a few cars in LMGT today, and hopefully there'll be an even more exciting session coming up for you. Right, Husky, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you get the LMP1 cars to clear off the circuit, please?
Yep, gotcha. Give me 1 second. Last driver's loading in now.
Cool.
Still.
Is it just Zophonius who's on a qualifying ban, or is there Ronin as well?
Ronin served it at Watkins Glen, but remember he had that medical emergency.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just Zophonius serving.
Okay. Right. Are they all on the circuit?
I believe all 9 of us are, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, are they all ready as well?
One second. I believe we're ready to go, so you can start it.
Okay. So we are underway with LMGT qualifying. Sem leads us down to the second chicane, followed by Yannick and Husky. Yalk following them, and bringing up the rear is OutCast in a Nissan GTR for OutCast Esports, returning to the series after a break, and now running some new machinery as well. New entry in LMGT, another one is Rosa here. He is in a Team FullPush Lamborghini. Following him, Ronin for Ronin Motorsports, Marseille and Zophonius still in the pit lane, serving a qualifying ban as a result of him leaving the lobby in the last race at Watkins Glen. Sem starting his first flying lap. Sem now coming through to the Lesmos, going through the first Lesmo now. Small twitch as he runs over the curb. Now running down towards Ascari. Going through Ascari now for the second time. The first time on a flying lap, and Sem goes extremely deep into the gravel. That's going to allow Husky to come past, followed by Yalk as well. Husky grabs pole for the time being, a 150.3, followed by Yalk, a 150.6, and Outcast, a 150.7. Sem setting a 158.8, plenty of room for improvement there. Yannick setting a 2-minute lap time, so plenty of room for improvement there. Ronin now just coming around the final couple of corners now. 151.4 for Ronin, 1.1 seconds or so off of pole at the moment. Vosa goes 152.8 in that in the third Lamborghini. Marseille goes to a 154.2 in the McLaren. Now let's ride on board with Yalk and see how he's doing. He's in the middle of this group at the moment, led by Husky, with him in the middle, followed by Sem. Yalk currently 1.4 seconds purple at the second sector line. As Husky pulls over to the right to allow Yalk through. Yalk now coming through the final corner, through the Parabolica. He grabs pole, 148.7 as Sem goes even faster, 148.741. Currently a 1-2 again for JM trackside. Outcast also improving, 149.2. Yannick also improving, a 149.9. Husky resetting to the pit lane. Ronin coming round the final corner in the NSX GT3 on his way to the line now. 149.6 puts Ronin fourth at the moment. Vosa 150.4, currently seventh. A small improvement would put him all the way up to fifth potentially if he found half a second. Yannick currently coming through the second Lesmo behind Outcast. He's going to have a lot of slipstream and ability to follow in that Porsche, especially with that GTR punching a massive hole in the air in front of him. Yannick currently 6/10 up as he goes through Ascari, using plenty of curb on the way through. He slingshots in front of Outcast and into the slipstream of Yalk. Yannick sets 149.6, that puts him 1,000th of a second behind Ronin. Ronin obviously will have seen this improvement from Yannick and will be answering very shortly, I'd imagine, with another lap of his own. Ronin responds by finding 0.3 of a second and closing the gap to OutCast in front of him down to 0.03 of a second. Marseille setting another lap, 1:53.9 at the moment. Where's Sam? He is on his way to the line. 1:48.4, finding 0.3 of a second. Yalk just coming across the line now. No improvement there. OutCast following him, only a slight improvement, 0.02 of a second. Ronin will be the next car across the line. Can he make any improvements on this lap? He's 2 seconds down on this lap. Vozza, the new entry, coming round towards the Parabolica now, round the Parabolica. Using up every inch of track that he can on his out lap, starting another flying lap now. Yannick going a little bit quicker there. Vozza in the gravel quite badly off of the exit of Lesmo 2. Let's see where our current pole sitter is on circuit. Sem driving in the gravel just a little bit there. Coming up towards the second chicane. He's running very low on fuel at the moment. 12 minutes elapsed in this session, 8 minutes left to go. What can Yalk do about his teammate being on pole by 3.5 of a second? Sem just finding the gravel in the back of shot there. Yeah, just running ever so slightly wide on the exit of the corner there. Yalk on another flying lap here, using up every millimetre of room on entry to turn 1 and turn 2, using up every millimetre of the curb on the exit. He is really pushing for this pole position now. Yalk using every millimetre of circuit through the first of the Lesmos, using all of the circuit on the exit of Lesmo 2 as well. Is that going to be enough to put him on pole position? I have a pretty good indicator in a moment. 2/10 purple at the moment for Yalk, so he is really pushing right now, as he has a huge moment in the middle of Ascari. Looks like he's lost power. Yalk currently a 10th up on his current flying lap as he finds the gravel again on the exit of the second chicane. That is not going to help at all for the next 2 corners, the Lesmos, with dirty left-hand side tyres. It's going to make it extremely difficult to keep control of that Lamborghini. Now, let's see what is going on slightly further down the field. We'll have a look at Ronin in a moment, just as soon as Yalk completes this lap. .4 seconds down on his best lap so far. Where's Ronin? Going through the second chicane at the moment. That Honda NSX working incredibly well right now in the GT3 category. As Yannick jumps up to P3 on that last lap, a 1:49.2. Ronin now just ahead of Sem, the current pole sitter, on his way through Parabolica. 6.5 tenths down. Sem, no improvement on that lap. That was as a result of it being an out lap. 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock here. Sem just coming through the first of the Lesmos, tucking that Lamborghini in all the way to the right hand side, and again through Lesmo 2, running it all the way out onto the curbing on the exit, taking a huge chunk of slipstream from Ronin in front of him. He's currently 800ths purple as he goes through Ascari. Sem continuing to take slipstream from Ronin. Hard on the brakes now for Parabolica. Can he find even more time on his pole position? Not right now. 1:48.5 for Sem, so about a tenth down. As the timer runs out, Sem will be the last car to set a lap, as Ronin resets on the circuit in front of him. What happened there for Ronin to cause that reset? Ah, he just missed the braking point on the entry to turn 1. Yannick having a rather large moment there as he comes across the line. Marseille on his way through, not improving on that lap. With 20 minutes elapsed in this session, the timer has run out for people to be finishing off their laps as Yalk spins in the Lesmos and gets damage recovering the car. That is going to all but confirm Sem as being on pole position. Sem and Yark doing some donuts there on a still live circuit. That's certainly going to be looked at post race. Right, we're going to take a moment to reset the lobby now, get everybody in the right grid order, and then we will be getting underway for the 90 minutes of Le Mans.
Scott said he's going to reset his log, and like leave and rejoin because he wasn't able to see some people's liveries.
That's fine.
He's just trying to fix that before something bad happens.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
In classic Scott fashion, his game has crashed.
Oh, that's just fantastically helpful.
Who's the 13th person loading in? Oh, there's Alvarez. That's who we're missing. I'm just starting to sort through the grid order now. I'm just waiting on Scott to rejoin. Yep, he's rejoining in a second. Should be at least.
Right, I think everybody's in the right grid order. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes because I need to grab a drink and then we'll get going. Husky, can you hear me?
Yep, hi, hello.
The bridge that you're just about to go under now, that one.
What? You just pinged really badly for me. I
Huh?
should robot Joe.
On the back straight, there's 2 bridges, yeah?
Yeah, okay, there you are.
The second one is your marker for going double file.
It's the one right before Ascari, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, can you make sure everybody's ready to go?
I think we're ready to go, but I don't. Let me double check.
Mm-hmm.
Man, 1 second. I believe we're good to go. I don't know, because Alvaric says he can't hear me in the Discord chat, but he can hear me at the same time. So I'm very confused about that.
We'll just start and work on it in the race if we have to.
Alright. Because he can hear like the commands for like joining the LMP1 lobby and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah.
I think he can hear me.
Yeah. Have you
let me
got
just make sure
the
everyone
party
is
open,
ready.
or are you just going to do it through Discord?
We're just gonna do it through Discord because everyone's already in here pretty much.
Okay.
I believe everyone's in here. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're missing. Where is Euphonius? Give me a second.
Yeah.
Alright, Euphonius is back in the call, so we should be good to start now if you want to.
Okay. Can you communicate to Gumball that I want the formation lap speed at 80 miles an hour?
Is it 80 kilometers or 80 miles per hour?
Miles. Miles, because he uses miles an hour, doesn't he?
Yep.
And we are underway for the formation lap here in Monza. Gumball will be leading us around this lap, followed by Costa, Sonic, Alvarez and Interceptor. Sem will be leading the GT field, followed by Yauk, the other JM trackside Lamborghini, Yannick for Nova Motorsports, OutCast for OutCast Esports, Ronin for Ronin Motorsports, Husky for N3XUS Racing, followed by Vosa for Team FullPush Marseille in the McLaren 650S, and bringing up the rears of Phonius in the other McLaren 650S for CZ Racing. He's bringing up the rear as he had a qualifying ban to serve after the last round at Watkins Glen. Now let's look at tyre strategy in LMP1 for a moment as they come down to Ascari. Gumball on mediums, Costa on mediums, Sonic on mediums, Alvarez opting for the soft tyres, and Interceptor opting for the soft tyre also. Now they're just coming round off of Ascari. Odd numbers on the right, Husky. So the field should be starting to split double file now. With Gumball leading us towards the line. Gumball opting to go, Alvarez going as well. Alvarez with a huge launch down into turn 1. He's up to second already. Costa now looking to the inside of Alvarez. Alvarez getting past Costa. Interceptor getting past Costa as well. Sonic falling back too. In LMGT, everybody makes it through turn 1 cleanly, and turn 2. Sem running away at the front of the pack, followed by Yannick, followed by Yauk and OutCast, followed by Ronin and Husky and Vosa. Marseille applying pressure to Vosa now. Zophonius coming through also. And there was a yellow flag there for just a moment coming through the chicane. And that is Ronin going around. Let's see what happened here, because there's yellow flags in the chicane for something. That would have likely been for Costa, who would have spun. And then Ronin just got caught out going through the chicane as well. Interceptor currently P2, Alvarez P3 at the moment. Gumball running away in the lead just a bit at the moment, 1.4 seconds ahead. The LMP1 field shuffling itself somewhat at the start here due to a difference in tyre strategy. both Interceptor and Alvarez are on the soft compound of tyre. Gumball, Sonic and Costa are all on the medium compound of tyre, which is going to affect strategy decision making somewhat going later into this race. Sem's still leading rather comfortably in LMGT by 1.7 seconds. Yannick coming through in second, OutCast in third, Yalk in fourth, Husky fifth. Vozza applying pressure to Husky now as they go down towards the second chicane. The barrier's going flying through there. Husky has damage. Vozza, no damage on that Lamborghini. Ronin with no damage as well. And now there's a huge fight for second in LMP1 as Alvarez and Interceptor are running side by side down the main straight. Alvarez grabbing the fastest lap of the race so far. Interceptor just squeezing him there slightly as they come through turn 2. Alvarez still chasing down the team FullPush Audi in front of him. And all this is doing is allowing Gumball to run away. The gap has doubled between Gumball and Interceptor for P2 in the last lap as a result of Interceptor and Alvarez fighting. Interceptor running through the gravel there. Alvarez comes through. Coming through Lesmo too. Alvarez now up to second. Gumball still leading. And in the back of shot now, you can just see Costa coming back after that spin on lap 1. Meanwhile in LMGT, the pack has started to split somewhat. Sem's still leading, OutCast now P2, Yalk P3, Yannick P4, Zophonius P5, Husky P6, Ronin P7 now, Vozza P8 and Marseille bringing up the rear in P9. Gumball now 4.2 seconds in the lead, so an extremely comfortable lead now for Gumball. Alvarez currently P2, half a second ahead of Interceptor, coming down towards Ascari now. Small hop over the curb there for Alvarez. Now, with all of these cars coming down the main straight, Costa is closed up to Sonic in the back of shot. He's now only 1.1 seconds behind the Nexus Audi. That's going to allow Costa to have the slipstream on the run up to the second chicane, and that's going to close that gap down significantly. Looking back at Interceptor and Alvarez, Interceptor now 1.5 tenths behind Alvarez, looking to the inside at the second chicane. There's a bit of contact there as Interceptor pushes Alvarez off, going through the second chicane. Interceptor just going for a gap that wasn't really there going into that chicane. He and Alvarez now completely door to door going into Ascari. Alvarez now all over the back of Interceptor. Sonic about to get in on this battle as well with Costa. This is about to become a four-way battle for position here. Sonic and Costa running side by side. Interceptor and Alvarez running side by side ahead of them as well. Four cars running in this close proximity at this high of a speed is not going to end well. Interceptor looking to the inside of Alvarez again, going down to turn 1. Alvarez just staying ahead now. Costa getting ahead of Sonic into turn 1 and out of turn 2. Costa now starting to apply the pressure to Interceptor ahead of him. Interceptor now driving defensively somewhat, trying to hold Costa up, and that's just going to allow Alvarez to escape off into the distance just a little bit. Costa looking to the outside of Interceptor through the first Lesmo. Sonic now right on the tail of Costa as well through the second Lesmo. Interceptor acting like the cork in the bottle here now as they catch LMGT traffic. Interceptor and Costa go down the inside of Marseille towards Ascari. Interceptor flying out of Ascari now. Costa with Sonic all over the back of his car now on the run down to Parabolica. That LMGT traffic has given Alvarez a huge break. He has opened that gap to 2.5 seconds now, and it's just going to allow him to pull away a little bit more. As we start seeing our first LMGT pit stops, that is Yalk to repair some damage to the front of that Lamborghini and to change his tyres. He's completed the mandatory 5 laps on medium tyres, so he no longer has to run them at all for the rest of this race. Taking on some more fuel here now as well. Interceptor now under pressure from Costa. This is going to become a 3-way fight again for P3 in a moment. Interceptor running through the first Lesmo now. Alvarez catching a GT car in an inopportune time. That's going to allow Interceptor to close up slightly to him. This might become a 4-way fight for P2 again in a moment once these cars are done clearing LMGT traffic. As Interceptor goes down the inside of Ronin through Ascari, Alvarez going round Husky on the back straight. Interceptor pulling out of the slipstream of Husky now onto the back of Alvarez, coming down towards Parabolica. Interceptor looks to the inside of Alvarez, can't quite make the move stick. As they catch yet more LMGT traffic, Alvarez tucks back into Interceptor's slipstream, coming all the way through the LMGT traffic, weaving through gaps that you couldn't even fit half a car width sideways through. Both of these LMP1s somehow find a way through there. Interceptor still P2, Alvarez now P3, coming up on yet more LMGT traffic, the P2 car of Yannick. Shortly these LMP1 cars will be clear of the LMGT traffic, and that's going to allow them to just have a bit more breathing space in this massive fight. Costa now catching up to the back of Yannick as well. Costa clearing Yannick into the first Lesmo. That's critical because that's going to allow him to pull away ever so slightly from Sonic, as Sonic has to go round that LMGT car of Yannick at a really opportune moment. Costa just catching the gravel there, coming through the second Lesmo. Alvarez now on the back of Interceptor again, coming down towards Ascari. They're going to have Sem in front of them through Ascari. Interceptor's still only half a second ahead of Alvarez. Alvarez really applying the pressure here. Costa catching up to the back of this group again now. Interceptor weaving around to break the toe to Alvarez down the main straight. Interceptor 0.02 of a second purple through the first sector. Alvarez right on the rear wing of that Audi now, looking to the outside at this first Lesmo. Interceptor just slightly brushing the side of Alvarez's car there, and Alvarez makes the move stick round the outside of the first Lesmo. That's going to bring Costa all the way back into this fight, as there's now door banging going on between Costa and Interceptor. Down towards Ascari now. Costa joining this fight now as well. Interceptor currently P3. He's now trying to attack Alvarez. Alvarez trying to defend from Interceptor. Costa only 2.5 back from this pair, who have been fighting incessantly for the last 5 laps. This is not going to end well if this continues. I have just this feeling that this is going to end awfully for these 3 cars if they keep fighting at this intensity for much longer. Alvarez pulling out of the slipstream to go round the outside at turn 1 of Interceptor. Costa looking to the inside, thinking better of it. He now has a run out of turn 2 on Alvarez. Alvarez putting the pressure onto Costa now. These 2 cars now 0.7 of a second behind Interceptor. They're going to have to start working together in order to catch up to Interceptor. Coming through the second chicane now, Interceptor half a second ahead as Costa slides off the circuit. He recovers the car. Sonic tags Costa as he recovers the car. Alvarez still only 1.2 seconds behind Interceptor now. Costa 2 seconds back now, under pressure from Sonic. Sonic looking to the inside for Ascari, getting level with Costa. And he just backs off at the last moment there through the entry to Ascari, thinking better of it. Alvarez now 1.6 seconds behind Interceptor. Interceptor 7.2 seconds from the leader, as Gumball comes through to finish his 11th lap of the race. Meanwhile, in the LMGT field, Sem still leading comfortably at the front of that field, followed by Yannick, followed by Zephonius, who has climbed all the way to P3 in the class, having started last. He's gained 6 places so far, and he is on an absolute charge here. OutCast P4, Voza P5, Marseille P6, Yalk P7, Ronin P8 under huge pressure from Husky now. Gumball now only in the lead by 6.5 seconds. Interceptor now only 0.7 of a second ahead of Alvarez. That gap has come down by a second in the last lap. Interceptor almost goes flying there off the exit of Ascari. That's going to allow Alvarez back through into P2, and it's going to bring Costa and Sonic right back into this fight as well. As Interceptor runs incredibly wide through Parabolica. Husky, do you have the presence of mind to be able to talk to the LMP1 drivers?
What?
Can you remind them all that I am watching and that I can see when they're running four wheels off the circuit? Specifically the number 11 car. He's done it about 3 laps in a row now, if that helps. Yellow flags at the chicane. That was yellow flags for Yalk, it seems. Has he had a moment at the chicane? Yes, he has. Yalk very sensibly opting to slow the car down, get everything collected and rejoin the circuit after the LMP1s had passed there. Alvarez now running P2, going through traffic again. The gap between himself and Interceptor has gone up to 2.3 seconds now, as Alvarez just comes down the inside of Ronin into the Parabolica. The gap now closing between him and the leader Gumball, down to 5.9 seconds from 7.2. Alvarez setting a personal best lap that time round as well, with traffic. Interceptor coming through the traffic as well now. Costa also coming through the traffic. Sonic coming through also. Sam still leading extremely comfortably in LMGT from Yannick and Zophonius now. Zophonius is currently up, I believe, 6 places on the start of this race, which means he's been averaging roughly an increase of one place every 2 laps or so. So hopefully in the next couple of laps we'll see him go up another position up to P2 here. OutCast running that Nissan GTR all the way to the limit of the circuit through Parabolica. Marseille behind him, followed by Ronin and Husky. You just have a moment going through Ascari there. Yalk coming behind them, followed by Voza, who has a 6-second penalty, presumably for cutting the pit entry and the pit exit on his way through the pits, as he is on an out lap at the moment. That is a huge penalty for the American driver. Mateus, the team boss of Team FullPush, in chat there, asking how that's possible. The 6-second penalty is possible either if he's cut the pit entry and the pit exit, or if he had performed an overtake for position while there was yellow flags and cut a pit entry or the pit exit. All three of those instances would total a 6-second penalty.
I believe he cut the pit entry, because I heard Marseille say that he made a very late entry. That's probably what it was.
Alvarez now 5 seconds ahead of Costa, who has just passed Interceptor for position. Could you now... Oh, and Vosa has just disconnected from the lobby. Husky.
Hi.
Could you please now tell the number 11 that he's been noted by the stewards for track limits abuses?
Yep.
Interceptor having a huge moment there, coming off of turn 2. What on earth went wrong there for the American, for the Englishman? He just got the car all sorts of out of shape on the exit of turn 2, and just recovered it and tried to keep going. Did I just see that he's just left the lobby as well? He has just left the lobby.
Correct.
Well,
that was immediately after the message was delivered, so
yeah,
another one to look into.
yeah. Gumball is now in a spot of trouble here because he has been caught by Alvarez, who is now absolutely side by side with him for the lead of LMP1 in traffic. Gumball pulling over to the outside of turn 1. He's going to have Sem in front of him through turn 1. Which is not going to be ideal for his ability to drive the car off the exit. Alvarez has a huge snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 1. That's not going to help him either. Alvarez running through turn 3 now behind Gumball. Coming up to the first Lesmo, Alvarez has a think about a move, doesn't quite go for it. Comes back in behind Gumball through Lesmo 2. Now coming down to Ascari. He's going to have quite a large run coming down here now. No traffic ahead of these two cars now for the foreseeable future, so that was a big moment for Alvarez coming off of Ascari. A huge run through the gravel. That's not going to help him at all in this fight with Gumball for the lead. Costa currently 4.2 seconds back and closing on this battle as well. That is far from ideal for both Gumball and Alvarez. Sonic 4.8 seconds behind Costa, 10 seconds off the lead as well, just setting a personal best lap in the process. That is incredibly interesting. Sem's still leading by about 4 seconds in LMGT as Yannick goes into the wall pretty hard there at the second chicane. Only nose damage, and he's managed to recover the car and get it going again. That's going to hand Zephonius P2 in LMGT. The question is now, how much further into the race will Zephonius get? Yannick's going to have to pit now. That's going to put him off sequence just a little bit. It's going to put him about... The pit stop now would put him behind Ronin, I think. If my maths is right. It would put him behind Ronin. But not by much. It put him ahead of Marseille, but behind Ronin. But that would only work if he only fixes the damage. Yannick opting to not just fix the damage, but to take fuel and tyres as well. Sem's still leading by 6.3 seconds in LMGT. Zephonius starting to close that gap down, although not enough at this stage to make a significant impact. Looking up at the front of the field, Gumball and Alvax still split by about 6/10 of a second. Followed by Costa, who's about 1.5 seconds back. Costa's still P3, 2.2 seconds behind Alvarez now. Alvarez 7/10 behind Gumball as they come up to traffic again. Husky just getting bumped ever so slightly by Ronin and Costa there through turn 1 and turn 2. Yannick now also under blue flags, presumably for Sonic. Yalk with nose damage as well now. He's obviously had a moment somewhere in the last lap or so. Now we're about a third of the way through this race. Currently 18 laps have gone by and we've had no safety cars just yet. I say that as there's just a bit of a moment there between Husky and Ronin again.
Did you call my name for something or am I tripping?
No, I was commentating on you. Alvarez now leading in LMP1, followed by Gumball. Costa in the back of shot now as well, starting to catch up to this pair of drivers in the lead who have been fighting furiously for the last few laps. Sonic's starting to close up slightly as well now. Costa 2.3 seconds behind Alvarez, 2.1 seconds behind Gumball. These cars running nose to tail again here. Gumball looks to the inside, has a think about it and thinks better of it. He then looks to the outside, then the inside again. Now coming through Les Mode 1. Costa closing up to the back of this pair as well now. This is about to become a three-way fight for the lead in LMP1 here. Gumball now side by side with Alvarez again, and now into the lead going into Parabolica. Costa now with this pair of drivers ahead of him. What can he do from where he is about these two cars fighting? Costa now on the back of Alvarez, coming down towards turn 1. He pulls out of the slipstream to the right hand side, manages to slot in just in front of Alvarez, going through turn 1 and 2. Now Costa starting to catch up to Gumball ahead of him. Costa still closing up to Gumball, coming through Lesmo 2. Gumball leading now by half a second at most, trying to find a way of pulling away from Costa, which is going to be almost impossible. Gumball, a purple sector 2 there for him. Costa running through the gravel there. That's going to allow Alvarez just to catch up slightly. Alvarez with rear damage now. That's going to slow him down somewhat coming through Parabolica. Gumball and Costa now running really close together. Gumball setting a purple sector 1, Costa following him, Alvarez having a huge oversteer behind them as his car steps out just momentarily on the exit of the second chicane as a result of the rear damage. Sonic on his way through the first Lesmo, on his way through the second Lesmo now, just catching up to one of the JM trackside Lamborghinis. Yalk staying to the left as Sonic comes past. Alvarez pulling into the pit lane now, to change tyres, add some fuel and repair that damage. Costa still on the rear of Gumball for the lead of this race. That's going to cycle Sonic up to P3 in LMP1. But in theory, this pit stop should put Alvarez back ahead of Sonic after his pit stop. Zafonius now 10 seconds behind Sem after his last stop. Sem still running comfortably in the lead of LMGT. With just about half this race elapsed now, Sem's still leading in LMGT. This is quite a high level performance for Sem, considering the fact that his performance last week at Watkins Glen was fantastic as well, and at Le Mans too. This could really shift the momentum in the championship towards him. Marseille in the pits now as well. He's filling up the car with fuel. Yalk spinning in the Parabolica. He gets the car going again. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Gumball and Costa are stretching their fuel to the absolute limit at the moment. The same for Sonic as well. All three of the cars in the top three are yet to stop. It's 47 minutes left in this race. So about 43 minutes elapsed. And that is quite a worrying sign for these drivers, whether they go to a 2-stop now or whether they stay on a 1-stop, because a safety car now would shake everything up. Gumball commits to the pit lane. And pulls into his box and stops. He's going to take tyres and fuel here. That's going to allow Sonic to cycle through to P2. It's going to allow Alvarez presumably to cycle back to P3 potentially. Gumball opting to take softs and not fill the car all the way. So he is committing to the 2-stop now. Practically running that Audi until it's out of fuel at this stage. He's surely going to have to pit this lap in order not to run out. There's the fuel warning going on telling him that he's not even going to make another lap. Surely, yes, there we go. He is pulled into the pit lane. He's going to have to take tyres and fuel here and try and stay ahead of Gumball, who has exited the pit lane in third, 23 seconds ahead of Alvarez. 26 seconds behind Sonic. Sonic pulling into the pit lane with no fuel whatsoever left in that Audi. Sonic just starting to take fuel now as well. Costa taking fuel and exiting the pit lane. He's going to be really close to Gumball. Gumball has just been reset at turn 2. Costa's going to be with Gumball as he comes through turn 2 now. Gumball is going to only be about 4 seconds up the road from Costa by the time he's actually gained this speed back. Alvarez now P3. Sonic has cycled through the pits to be about one second behind him. So this battle for position that Alvarez has been having almost all race, still not over. As Sonic now comes through towards the second chicane and is now going to be applying pressure almost incessantly to Alvarez for the remainder of this tyre stint. That is if he can't pass him almost immediately on the next few laps. Sem now leading in LMGT by 18 seconds from Zephonius. OutCast 2.5 seconds behind Zephonius here. Coming through the second chicane, Ronin just coming up to the second chicane as well. Husky immediately behind him. Yannick about 4 seconds behind them. Yalk a minute behind Yannick. About to be lapped by his teammate Sam in the other JM trackside Lamborghini. Marseille currently running 12th at the moment, 14 seconds behind Yalk. Gumball leading by 8.5 seconds from Costa. Both cars on the soft tyre. A huge difference in fuel load though. Gumball seemingly committing to a second pit stop, but he is significantly underfueled that Audi. Zephonius and OutCast both stopping in the pit lane now for fuel and tyres. Zephonius opting to change tyres and add fuel now. OutCast also, they're split by 2 seconds as they entered the pit lane. That's going to allow Yalk to catch up significantly to these 2 cars ahead of him, although he's going to have to do another pit stop as well. Now we've got 40 minutes left in this race. Gumball is still leading by 9.5 seconds from Costa. Sonic is running P3, 2.5 seconds ahead of Alvarez. Alvarez is currently the only car in LMP1 to be running the medium tyre, and he is struggling slightly as a result. Gumball just coming up on a pack of 3 LMGT cars here. This might cost him a little bit of time as he laps them, although he will likely catch them after the Ascari chicane, so there shouldn't be too big of a time loss. Gumball grabbing the fastest lap, 134.464 now. That is still significantly slower than the fastest race lap from last season of 132.6 set by Lucas for WSR. There's Alvarez there. Was that Alvarez or was that... That was Costa having a moment there, spinning off at the second chicane. Now back to the battle in LMGT. Ronin has cycled all the way through to second in the class at the moment. He's going to have to pit in the next 2 laps. Husky is going to have to pit in the next 3 laps. Yannick is going to have to pit in the next 20 minutes, and Zephonius might just make it to the end. And with the way the gaps are currently, the gap is going to cycle through that Ronin is going to end up just behind Zephonius if he were to pit right now. Costa's starting to feel the pressure from Sonic a little bit now. The gap 2.3 seconds at the moment. That's quite close at this stage. 37 minutes left on the clock. 2.3 seconds separating these cars, and Costa is catching lap traffic now. So he's going to have to try and lap as aggressively as possible in order to make it through without losing too much time to Sonic behind him. Ronin pulls into the pit lane. That car is out of fuel. He's got a 30-second gap to Zephonius, who right now is coming through the Parabolica. Ronin, if he times this right, should come out just behind OutCast. .35 minutes left at 2 minutes a lap. He would need about 17 laps of fuel. Ronin opting for a full tank of fuel there, so presumably he did not have enough fuel left to make it all the way to the end. He's now come out of the pits 20 seconds behind OutCast. Oh, appears that we have lost Sen from the lead of the race.
Yeah, he lagged out.
Oh, that's not great. So, if my maths is right then, does that mean that Zophonius is now the net leader in LMGT? Because Husky, obviously you've got to stop again, Yannick has to stop again if my maths is right, and that's going to put Zophonius to the lead. So now Husky comes into the pits. Ronin will jump him in the pit lane. Yalk will not. Marseille will not either. Gumball now leading by 30 seconds in LMP1 from Costa and Sonic, who are separated by just 2 seconds at the moment. Gumball, however, is in a position where he will likely have to stop again, as Alvarez dives into the pit lane, presumably to get rid of the medium tyres and go to some soft tyres and try to make some time back on the cars ahead of him. Alvarez now 47 seconds back from Sonic. Sonic won't have to stop again before the end of this race. Costa won't either. Gumball, the leader, will have to stop again, but he has just about enough space at the lead of this race in order to make that stop and still be leading. Gumball now coming through to lap Yannick, and I believe that is Marseille in front of them. Marseille just getting a little bit out of shape there, coming through turn 2, ahead of Yannick, the LMGT leader. Husky.
Yep, hi.
Could you just advise Marseille? Never mind, don't worry about it. He's just
Yeah, that's what we're talking about the situation right
through.
now.
I was literally about to say, yeah, he needs to let Yannick through, and he's not been doing that.
He was trying to find a spot to where he could save himself from being overtaken from the car behind as well.
Yeah. No, that's fair. This could be really interesting as we get towards the end, because Zophonius and OutCast are separated by 1.9 seconds at the moment in two very different cars. Zophonius in the McLaren, OutCast in the Nissan GTR. Yannick in the lead of LMGT still has to do a pit stop before the end of this race, or he will run out of fuel. Which means that the net leader is Zophonius, but only if he can manage to stay ahead of OutCast, who's still only 2.5 seconds behind him. Zophonius is now only 1.8 seconds ahead of OutCast, so he's going to have to really start thinking about defence soon, because otherwise he's not going to be able to retain the lead of this race for much longer. In LMP1, Gumball is still leading by about 31 seconds, so he's only opened the gap up by a second to Costa now. And he still has a pit stop to serve, because at a quarter of a tank left of fuel, Gumball is not going to make it 25 minutes in this race, especially not at the speed he needs to be doing to stay ahead of Costa. Gumball now 32.8 seconds ahead of Costa. He's going to need to really ramp up this pace if he needs to make another stop before the end of this race. Costa now nearly 7.4 seconds ahead of Sonic behind him. Alvarez 46.9 seconds back. Yannick still leading in LMGT. Zafonius 25 seconds back from Yannick now. He's going to need to fill up with fuel soon. Zafonius will stay in the lead. OutCast is going to be there putting pressure on for the remainder of this race. Husky and Ronin separated by 1.4 seconds as well now. So this is going to be full of battles all the way up and down the field until the very end of this race. Gumball now at a 40-second lead. Costa's obviously had a moment somewhere, and that's going to that's allowed Sonic to catch up to be within half a second of him. And that's going to allow Costa to really start ramping up the pressure. Gumball now 38 seconds in the lead, so that gap's fluctuating a little bit. Gumball still leading comfortably, 39.5 seconds. That gap between him and Costa is fluctuating as Costa fights with Sonic. Alvarez just passing OutCast. OutCast now 2.6 seconds behind Zafonius. Zafonius now has blue flags for Alvarez as well as he comes through Parabolica. Yannick is now at a point in this race where he has to make a pit stop soon, and if he doesn't, he's not going to make it all the way to the end. Yannick still leading by 23 seconds over Zafonius, but this is not going to be good. Zafonius now 1.2 seconds ahead of OutCast. 1.1 seconds now. 1 second. Ooh, OutCast is closing Zafonius down just a little bit here as Yannick dives into the pit lane. Now the big question remains, will Zafonius be sensible and try and work with OutCast to build a gap to Yannick, or will they both fight and potentially allow Yannick, once he leaves the pit lane, to come back into this fight? 1 minute 50 lap times, 19 minutes left on the clock. That's about 11 laps worth of fuel, so about half a tank of fuel. Yannick has come out of the pits, half a tank of fuel, fresh tyres. The cars ahead of him are on slightly more worn tyres, so I think Yannick is hoping that the undercut will work in his favour, as well as these two cars fighting extremely hard for position. OutCast now half a second behind Zephonius. OutCast has now passed Zephonius. So OutCast is now half a second ahead of Zephonius and leading LMGT. So we now have our fourth different leader in LMGT now. Yannick 12 seconds back and closing at this stage. He's going to be taking advantage as this race develops of the fresher tyres compared to the cars ahead of him, although he does have slightly more fuel on board. As Costa leaves the room, what on earth is going on in LMP1?
He spun and crashed out of the Scari, so I can book that as an investigation for a certain RG, or RQ, I guess it is.
Yeah. OutCast still leading by 1.8 seconds in LMGT Zephonius, now only 10.5 seconds ahead of Yannick. Yannick really starting to ramp the pace up here in order to catch up to Zephonius and to OutCast before the last lap. OutCast trying to raise the pace just a little bit in front of Zephonius. Right now he's running about 1.1 seconds a lap faster than Zephonius behind him. Yannick will be running about the same sort of pace as OutCast in the lead. OutCast now leading by 3 seconds in LMGT as Marseille just has a moment going through turn 2. The gap between Zephonius and Yannick is now down to 9.1 seconds. So Yannick is definitely closing this gap down here. outcast now 3.8 seconds ahead of Zafonius. Yannick now 7.2 seconds behind Zafonius. This race is far from over with 12 minutes left in LMGT. That last lap, Yannick was almost 3 seconds faster than Zafonius. So he is currently running significantly faster than the cars ahead of him, to the point where in the next 2 laps he may catch up to them. Yannick now down to 5.3 seconds behind Zafonius. That gap down by another second since the start of this lap. .6 seconds now. Yannick is just closing this gap relentlessly to Zafonius, and you can see him now in the back of shot as Zafonius goes past the camera there. Zafonius obviously starting to struggle with the tyres now. He's going to have to keep going in order to keep Yannick behind, but Yannick has closed yet another 3.5 seconds this lap and sets a personal best in the process, 1:49.1. The fastest lap so far in LMGT by about half a tenth at this stage. Yannick now has the opportunity, if he can catch and pass Zafonius in the next lap, he then will have the opportunity to catch and pass OutCast by the end of the race and win in LMGT. Yannick is now only 3/4 of a second behind Zafonius. They are almost completely together as they go down towards Ascari. Yannick now 4/10 behind Zafonius, very much in the McLaren slipstream now. Will he look to the inside at Parabolica? He doesn't have a look to the inside just yet. He gets to the rear bumper of Zafonius. The move is definitely on for turn 2 though. Or turn 1 and turn 2. Alvarez coming past to lap this pair. Yannick taking Alvarez's slipstream as he goes past. Zafonius just banging doors with Yannick as he goes past. Yannick now up into P2 in LMGT, 3.3 seconds behind OutCast. He has the opportunity here to close that gap down and to get ahead of OutCast and win this race now. 3 seconds is the gap and it is falling rapidly. 2.8 seconds now, 2.7. Yannick is on an absolute tear here, and he could very well grab the lead of this race in the next 2 laps. In LMP1 at the front, there's been a slight shift in the lead. Sonic is now leading, Gumball P2. Alvarez P3, 50 seconds behind them. Looking back at Alvarez, goes round on the exit of Ascari. He recovers the car, gets it pointed in the right direction again and keeps going. That is right in front of this battle between OutCast and Yannick. Yannick now 3 seconds behind OutCast and starting to close that gap down. Does he have enough time? 1 minute 50 second laps, so he's got about 5 laps left in this race. Yannick not quite closing up enough on that last lap to OutCast. He is closing up very fast now though. OutCast braking into turn 1 and turn 2. Yannick going through turn 2 now. 2.7 seconds is the gap. Yannick has already pulled away 4.7 seconds from Zephonius behind him as well after that stop. He is absolutely charging here, and he is only closing up more to OutCast in front of him. OutCast now only 2 seconds ahead of Yannick. Yannick 1.6 now, 1.5 behind OutCast. He's going to be in slipstream range in a second. The gap between Yannick and Zephonius now going up to 8 seconds. Zephonius obviously having had a moment somewhere on the circuit. Yannick now 1.2 seconds behind OutCast as Alvarez, after his last pit stop, comes past to lap him again. Yannick's got to be wondering, how many times has this LMP come past me, as he sets a 1:48.8, comfortably the fastest lap so far in LMGT. OutCast just has a small moment there coming through turn 2. The gap now at 9/10 of a second, 5.5 minutes left on the clock. Yannick 3.5 tenths up on sector 1 alone. The gap at 8/10 of a second. Yannick right on the rear wing of this Nissan GTR in front of him, 8 tenths away. OutCast is going to have to do something here in order to keep this Porsche at bay. Coming through Ascari now. Yannick 7.5 tenths back. He's not quite got the power at the moment to catch up to OutCast in front of him, but he will have the cornering speed. Blue flags again for Gumball coming through in the LMP1 car. Yannick now under half a second behind OutCast. Sonic into the pit lane with 9% fuel on board, not enough to make it to the end of the race. Yannick closing up to the rear bumper now of OutCast. 4 minutes left on the clock. OutCast now really having to look after his fuel. Yannick completely side by side with the Nissan. Yannick looking to the inside, yellow flags in the chicane for Yalk going around ever so slightly there. And Yannick is passed. Will he get a penalty at all for that, or would he have been ahead going into the chicane? So Yannick is P5 there, P4, and then the yellow flag happens, so he won't get a penalty for that. As he's now pulled away a second already out of the Lesmos on OutCast. This race really has had it all. It's had drama, it's had huge strategy battles in every class throughout. It's going to have a first time podium sitter in Ronin. It's going to have multiple fights right the way to the end of this race in the LMGT class. Yannick still catching up to Yalk. Yalk is going to have to let him past. OutCast now 4 seconds behind Yannick. That last pit stop really paying dividends for Yannick here. 2 laps left. OutCast extremely low on fuel, Ronin extremely low on fuel as well. Husky has 25% of a tank of fuel left. Zophonius is also extremely low on fuel. Yalk off the circuit again at the second chicane, having just misjudged it slightly there. Gumball has plenty of fuel, Sonic has plenty of fuel, Alvarex has plenty of fuel to make it to the end. Yannick is... he's got enough fuel to make it to the end, just. But this still could get even more interesting, because the amount of fuel he's got might not be enough if this goes an extra lap to get him round the circuit the entire way. But I'm not sure whether that would matter or not at this stage, because the cars that are nearest to him that would be the most impactful are 20 seconds behind him. The clock is going to have clock's going to have over 40 seconds left on it as he gets to the line, or over 30 seconds even. 35 seconds left on the clock. If Yannick or OutCast or Ronin were now to run out of fuel on this last lap, if Husky can make the line before the timer hits 0, he could still win this race with how many people in front of him are low on fuel. OutCast is looking like he could run out of fuel at any moment. The timer runs out, the final lap has started. Zophonius is the first car to cross the line. Yannick running on fumes, OutCast running on fumes, Ronin running on fumes as well. Yannick coming through Ascari now. That car almost completely out of fuel. OutCast almost completely out of fuel. Ronin still with some fuel left, but not close enough to make an impact. Yannick coming through Parabolica now. to win at Monza in the LMGT class. Gumball wins in LMP1, Sonic P2, Alvarez P3 in LMP1, Yannick P4 overall wins in LMGT. OutCast just barely makes it to the line before running out of fuel. Ronin is going to just barely make it to the line as well and keep P3 in LMGT. Husky P4, Zophonius P5 in LMGT, Yalk coming home P6 and P7 Marseille. Is that the first time, Husky, we've had a safety car free race? It might
Monza
be.
last season also not have a safety car.
No,
I don't think
it
Monza
did.
last season
It
had
did,
one.
but it was very late in the race that it had
Oh, yeah,
that it
right,
happened.
I think that might be the first one then. Because Watkins we had some. Le Mans,
Yeah.
yes. Daytona, yes. Both seasons.
Yeah, Nürburgring had one late race as well in season 1. So yeah, I think this might be the only time we've had a safety car free race.
Also, you need to save the replay again because mine is still
I've
not
got
working. Lovely-do. Let me just go and tell Scott.
I'm going to have a look at the results a minute. Fastest LMGT lap. Fastest LMGT lap was... it was Sem. Sem had the fastest LMGT lap before he disconnected.
Yeah. He set like
48.5.
Yeah. I remember him saying that. I think 4 DNFs.
Right. On that note, I think I will end the stream. Thank you all very much for watching and sticking around for this. I have been your host, Joe90. I'll be back in... Is it next week we're racing again, Husky, or is it the week after?
Let me check the calendar real quick. I believe it is next week. Yes, it's next week at Sao Paulo.
Right, you heard it here first. We'll be racing again next week at Sao Paulo. See you all then.